Hello, Joe, and welcome to your diary entry, episode 18. It feels hard to believe that we've been doing this 18 times now. How are you this week?
Very well, thank you. And it's funny reflecting on those 18 weeks. I'm thinking about in how many different physical locations the two of us have been in, which is probably a fair few now already, which
Yeah.
is quite funny.
Well, even as we sat down to record this, we were both commenting on different um, things we were noticing in each other's backgrounds. Your bed, for example, it's lovely to be joining you in the boudoir. And exciting news on my front, we have a standing desk. So if you're getting a little bit more visual of my photos and things behind me, that's thanks to our standing desk. Big, big, exciting news from here. Surely there's more happening than in Bangkok.
Well, I was going to say slow news day. Wow. Um, well, to be honest, it's actually been a rather blissfully slow week now that I actually reflect on it. And do you know what? Normally, I would think that makes for boring content. But do you know what? It's pretty bloody nice.
It is. It's probably the first one of those you've had in a really long time. Like, your stuff's here, your kids are settled, you've got your routine, going to your club.
Well, I could probably say it's the first time in 18 weeks
Yeah,
that I've felt relatively zen, which is
that's
quite
fantastic.
disturbing.
Congratulations. I love to hear it.
Thanks. I guess it's been nice because I am feeling like that things are getting into a bit of a groove. I'm not yet in control of what my week looks like in a way where I feel like, okay, I'm strategically planning my week and setting it out how I want it to be. I'm still feeling that it's quite reactive, and I think we've sort of talked a little bit about this over the last 18 weeks, but around there's a fair bit of a transition piece for just even just getting used to having people that I'm working with different hats on who are in different time zones and mainly East Coast Australia. So I'm just managing sort of fitting things that require lining up actual calls and things with those people, just getting them sort of jammed into the mornings here. But I'm I'm not feeling, if I go back to what my homework was prior to leaving Oz, I'm not feeling like I haven't sort of managed to work out how to do exercise in my day. Like, I know that it needs to happen before everyone else gets up, and I just can't bring myself to do it yet. So that's that's where I need to get to, because in theory I would love to like have the kids get out the door and then go and do something, but like I said, I've got this finite window of time each day where people in Australia are online who are wanting to actually have my time in calls and things like that, that I can't. And it's super easy. Oh, I can't go to the gym, or I can't go for a walk because
Yeah,
I've got all of these things to do, and it's like the easiest thing to drop off.
yeah, yeah. I can relate to that. Except that for me, if I don't exercise, I'm a crazy person, so I have to prioritize it. Um, I wish I could still function without it, but you would really know about it. That would not be a good thing for anyone. But I have
No.
other things that fall off, and it's it's hard when you are trying to prioritize, and you just can't. And I think it's often those things for yourself. And actually, the lab that we did with Zoe Hayes on personal brand was really great for this because it took a deep dive into values and what our values are. And she recommended a podcast, which we'll put in the notes, that is fantastic in terms of helping you unpack what those values are, and when you've got competing values, why it's so easy for some to fall off and some not to. So I know you would have done your homework, and so you're all across this. Um, but I found that so interesting and reflected on it a lot.
But it's interesting because that word values can interchange with priorities, really.
Well, I mean, it is a values clash. Like your value is, not without having putting words in your mouth, but you're valuing showing up in the workplace and being there for other people over, that value of your health and exercise. That's the thing that's sort of dropping down. I'm sure I'm not using the technical values terms here, but yes, priorities, values, interchangeable, absolutely.
Yes. I don't know. Again, it's just one of those things that's a bit harder to sort of justify when you're like, okay, but bills need paying and things. But again, this has got nothing to do with a relocation. I use this excuse for my entire existence of adulthood as my way to avoid doing exercise. So, look, this is not a location specific thing. This is a Joe specific thing.
Yeah,
So,
when you are relocating, I think it's easier to fall into some of those, like, I'll call it a bad habit maybe,
yeah,
because
yeah,
you don't have the same routine and structure to fall back on, and so you sort of choose it's not an easy option. So all my language choice today is terrible because I had 4 hours sleep last night, but like it's like, oh, it's kind of easier to get this done and I'm going to get the reward for doing this. You're not going to, it's like harder to do the other things and to set up those routines and structures to allow yourself to do it. And
yeah.
yeah, so yes, it might be a Joe everyday thing, but it definitely would be enhanced by this relocation.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's always an excuse of something else that I can be doing. Like so Hugh's in Vietnam this week for work, so I'm doing things solo. And we may have established by now that the kitchen is not my forte. And so I sort of at whatever time last night realised that there was not things for lunch boxes the next day. And so my 10-year-old and I went on an adventure last night in a tuk-tuk to a supermarket, for like a bigger supermarket further away from our apartment, and because it's sort of like one of those bigger bulk, it's like I guess a Costco equivalent sort of bigger place. And like that was a lot more fun than going to the gym and exercising. We went in tuk-tuk, we took videos and sent it to we've got some neighbours who are on a farm, maybe 15, 20 kilometres away from us, and they've got 3 boys, and they have loved getting video updates of just walking around in the streets in Bangkok. And so we sent some videos through of us in the tuk-tuk last night in peak hour traffic with all the motorbikes and all the things going around. And they were just like beside themselves this morning because obviously the messages were a bit late. The messages that we got back this morning, they were like, this is so cool being able to see this. And I was like, of course I'd rather go in a tuk-tuk ride and go to the supermarket and get an ice cream with my child than go to the gym.
Absolutely. And you know what? You can't do everything all the time, and sometimes you need to prioritize that stuff. Like feeding your kids. I'm glad you made that priority.
Well, this is a ridiculous thing, and I wasn't going to tell you this part, but this is like a perfect indication of the yin and yang that is my husband and I. I sort of was like, there's no fruit in here, so that's what I'll use as my excuse to go. And so we went and bought back like 2 kilos of apples. And of course, then when I was putting it in the fridge and had a decent look in the fridge, realised that my husband had also bought 2 kilos of apples in preparation for him not being here and for there to be food for our children. So I was to the kids though, I was like, you're having apples for breakfast, you are having apples in your lunch, your afternoon tea is apples, you are going to turn into apples in the
apple crumble, apple muffins.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, that was a bit of a fail, but we literally have got lots of fruit, so I can't really complain about that.
And last time we spoke to you, we talked a lot about visitors because you have quite a run of visitors coming your way. Are they there? Have they landed? What's the deal?
Not yet. So we have the first one coming only for one night on Saturday night, and she just is a friend who happens to be in Thailand for work. And so I was messaging her last night while in said tuk-tuk going to the supermarket, and said, is there things you want to do? Like, I'll start planning out And she's like, I'm not getting in until sort of 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I have to leave at 10 a.m. So I was like, oh, okay, so we'll keep it very local. But I'm already excited about getting to, like, pull out my Google Maps and be like, okay, what's all like walking distance from home? How do we get in? Maybe some view and some local food, and obviously a foot massage.
Oh
How do
gosh.
you turn it on in Thailand for someone in a like an 8 hour period of time, which
Yeah.
will be really fun. And then yeah, we've got some other friends arriving next week who have got two little kids, and then they bounce out, and then the next day my parents arrive for a month, and while they're here for a month, I've got a girlfriend from uni who is coming for a week of that, so we're doubling up there. And then another friend who used to live in Malaysia, who then lived in Singapore, who's now back in Australia, is now doing a stint in, I think, I can't remember where she's coming back to Southeast Asia for 2 months, and she's never been to Bangkok before, so she's going to come as well. But I was like, these are the dates to avoid when there is literally no space for you, so don't come then. So, yes, I'm very excited it gets to start, and I'm very excited having a bit more space this time round as opposed to our time in Singapore where it was like
Yeah.
people sleeping on your lap pretty much.
Yeah, that's so exciting. It's a really special thing sharing the place that you live with your loved ones. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear how that all goes.
Well, also I'm excited because we've been in the thick of operational stuff, more logistics of like, I know how to get to the supermarket now. I'm more excited about like how do we get to do some touristy things while
Yeah.
they're here and be a tourist at home. And there's a canal, a clong they call it, that's not at the end of our street here, that has like a local sort of river taxi. Well, it's not a river taxi, it's more like a river bus that you can hop on and off that goes up there. I still haven't been on it yet, and I'm like desperate to. I see it go past, and I'm desperate to sort of go and have a go on it. And so I'm right. I'm going to use that as an excuse. Hopefully this
That's
time.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Of course, you've got a
Also,
list of those kind of things.
oh, I do. I've got a. Of course, I've got a list. I've got like a whole map on my Google Maps that is allocated to activities with guests. But another thing that I'm really keen to do, which is exciting, and again, the joys of being somewhere like in Asia, but we just in a cab the other day went past like street, like, well, not streets, but blocks and blocks of flower markets. And so I
Oh,
dropped a pin on the map. And so I'm super keen to go back and have a look at the flower markets. And I was speaking to a woman on Sunday who said, you go and make friends with one of the store owners, and then you just have them deliver. They just deliver flowers on the back of a bike every week, and you're paying sort of like $5 Australian to have three beautiful bunches of flowers in the house every week. And I was like, yes, please.
that sounds amazing.
And
I,
I'm excited.
as you know, that's not really an option in Singapore. Anytime a guest comes to Singapore and buys me flowers, I'm always so embarrassed because I know, like, the tiny bunch that they bought has cost so much money. It's
I
just,
know. And to be fair, the inner turmoil that I do have around flowers, around the miles that go on to them, oh, they go, like, at least I'm in Thailand where they do actually grow cut flowers in this country, but Singapore, like, gee whiz, who knows where they were coming
absolutely
from.
not. No, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh well,
So,
that's a wonderful thing to like enjoy, and like I love that you're seeing these things and putting them
mm,
aside for these occasions. That's really cool.
mm. And we actually spent, and again, the kids were a nightmare because it was so hot, but we went out to a massive big market that's in Singapore that sells all things from sort of furniture to clothing to jewelry to, I'm pretty sure, smuggled wild animals from around the world. Like, there's all sorts of things there. We obviously avoided that section, but we were looking for, because of all of our furniture has arrived, and just picking up some bits and pieces that we sort of need to fill gaps. And just found just some beautiful furniture, and everyone's just so nice. And you get it, just the ease of things, like, oh,
Yeah.
we'll deliver it tomorrow. I was like, okay. And they turn up and they put it into the spot and things, and I was just like, I can't even fathom what doing this when you are back in places like Oz,
Yeah.
or especially in the country where, like, okay, great, well, it'll take 3 weeks to get here, and then it's this cost extra to get it delivered. And if you want it, like, I was just like, oh, and they just did it for free. They just sent it
Yeah.
along. But it was also really fun because the market is out near where my eldest daughter's friend, her mum is a teacher at one of the big schools further on the outskirts of town. And so they came and met us, and I said, can you just take these kids? They're driving us crazy. And so she's got 2 girls as well, and she just took the 4 girls, and they have spent a lot of time at the market. So they showed the girls all their favourite stalls and things. But this place, like, is just, for those of people that haven't been, it is blocks and blocks of little market stalls through to more permanent stands where people have air conditioned them and everything. They're really cool, but you can get crockery and glasses and, you know, 6 foot high gold plated Buddhas statues, like
Wow.
everything,
Yeah.
everything. So they had a great time cruising around then with the other girls rather than hanging out with us looking at sideboards and dining room
And like
tables.
such an amazing experience for them to be seeing that and to have friends that are like, oh yeah, this is our local, this is where we like to go. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they won't properly appreciate it until they're older, but they're the cool things that are just shaping their childhood.
Yeah, 100%. But they're also the cool things that we get to share when people come as well, because, like, the more that we do with visitors and with other friends that we make, and, you know, I went to a birthday party on the weekend with one of the girls and met this fabulous Brazilian woman who's like, she's been here for 19 years and was just like, give me a number. We've been texting since. She, like, sends me all the recommendations on, like, this is good for food, go here, do this, order things here, you know, all of the things. So yeah, it's cool. And I get excited about knowing that I will get to be that for other people once I
Yeah,
get the lay of the land myself as well. So it's cool.
you'll be that in a minute. You, you probably are already giving out advice. Actually, I think I've found the best supermarket in Bangkok. I've been here for 6 whole weeks and I know it.
Well, to be fair, it's funny you say that because the friends that are coming next week, he was like, "Oh, should I book a taxi? Should I do these?" And I was like, "Oh, I've got a guy's number. I'll just send it to you." And he's like, already booked in and said it's costing us like $65, and he's sending this crazy van with all of the like disco lights on the inside. Things the kids that are like 18 months and 3 that are just getting off a 10-hour flight are going to be like charging in the in the car on the way here. But I was like, yeah, I've got a guy's number. I've already got a guy's number.
Of course you do. I love it. Oh, that's really exciting, Joe. Well, I can't wait to hear what it's like actually showing these people around and whether you get to experience some new things, whether it disrupts your routine that you're sort of starting to establish too much. I think, yeah, it's always amazing having visitors, but it can get a bit exhausting as well. So I hope you're able to hold a balance there.
Well, especially because ours are now back to back for the next 2 months, pretty much.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. So that's going to be interesting. It'll be fine for me because I'm the one that keeps inviting them. It's going to be more for my husband. He's
A
like,
few more
oh,
work
God.
trips to Vietnam on the cards.
Yeah. A few more trips elsewhere. He does have a fair bit of travel starting to like book in now, which is good. So good for him. I, and this is where sometimes, like, and again, this is like, oh, but I sort of think, like, imagine if we didn't have kids and we were young and I could just come with you to all of these places, and, you know, I could either work, but even better if I didn't, and then I could, like, you know, swan around in these places that you're going to. And I have this like fantasy of what that would be like, and then I remind myself that my husband works in agriculture, and I spoke to him this morning. He's like literally was wearing waders and was in rice paddies in the Mekong Delta, walking around looking at weeds in rice crops. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. That's not really all that appealing.
That, and also maybe a reminder of who you are. I can't really see you as the kind of person that's just going to stop what they're doing and just swan around for the rest of their days. There has been I feel like it's one of those things that you say, and then when if the reality of it, I mean, please don't tell me that's true because that's the whole foundation of our business is. So
It's a farce.
if this
It's
is
a
a breakup
farce.
message, I need to know
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I'm a phony. I'm a phony. Well, like I said, it's in my fantasy that I sort of think that I would love to do that. It's actually quite interesting. I've met this fabulous couple that live here that are from New Zealand, and they're towards the end of her husband's career. So this will be sort of, I'd say, I wouldn't be surprised if he sort of like, maybe one, well, I don't know. I feel like it's like knowing their age and stage and like length of career and length of time with the company and things, that I'd say they're towards the end of it. And this is their first time coming and doing something abroad, and she has genuinely embraced this thing, and she is very much actually going when it suits, or meeting him in a place at the end of the week, and they have sort of an extended weekend or things in different parts of across sort of Asia Pacific. And I don't know, I think that I'm listening to her talking about it, and then I'm like, yeah, you've also got adult kids that do not live in Bangkok, and you are doing things slightly different as far as your age and stage and career and all of those things. But you know, there's that grass is always greener thing that's
Yeah.
always in
Well,
us.
I think I met a woman this week who has recently moved to Singapore from the UK. She's from India originally, and she's got three kids older than probably about the age of your girls. And she said to her kids, "We moved to London for you." So they were there for 3 years, and we've moved to Singapore for me. And for her, they're coming to Singapore. She's like, "I'm so grateful to be unable to get an employment pass. I'm making this me time. I've had my kids. I'm now in perimenopause. This is time for me to regroup and refine myself." And I was like, good on you for like, I mean, first, obviously acknowledge the privilege in the room to be able to do that, but like to be able to claim that space and make it our own. I think that's incredible, but it's also not for everyone, and it's hopefully not for anyone listening to this because they're wanting their careers to continue. So
This
enough
is
of
this is not for you.
don't sell the dream. It's way better to be focusing on your career and connecting with like-minded people.
Let's just do us out of a job here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think that's a perfect example of where some people look at experiences and opportunities and things in a different light, and that's perfectly fine. This is like exactly that. It's not for everyone, and it's doing things that way that she's planning on doing is also not for everyone. So
Yeah.
um,
Because I'm
there's
not
enough
sure whether you
pie.
know this, Joe, but we're all different.
I find this fascinating. This concept of people being different to me is so weird.
Um,
Hopefully, over the series of listening to us talking, you've established that my complete lack of self awareness and the concept that people actually behave differently to me is shining through.
we love you for you, and we love that you share, and we can't wait to hear you report back next week. Thanks so much,
Sounds
Joe.
okay. Have a good one.